A 302 career batting average, 7 All-Star games, 1 MVP, 1 batting title, a Gold Glove, 3 World Championships. The face of the San Francisco Giants has retired. Without Buster, there are no rings, no Buster hugs, no perfect game, and no hugging puppies. I'm not old, but I am an older fan. I missed Mays and McCovey and Marichal, but I was a teenager when Will Clark came up, and he's my favorite Giant of all time. Just like Will Clark, Buster Posey has retired while still on top of the game, hitting over 300 in his last season. While we'll miss him behind the dish, we wish him well in his personal life. He cited health and family as his reasons for retiring. In his press conference earlier today, he talked about needing to prove that he could still play after a subpar 2019 and taking 2020 off. But he also said that he was pretty sure that this year was going to be his last in the beginning of the season, and that thought never wavered during the season. He's definitely at peace with his decision. I'm, a little emotional about this, just finding out the news yesterday that he was going to have his press conference today. There was a little bit of an inkling about it when he was looking around after Game 162 when they clinched the West. There was a quote, I don't have it in front of me, but after they lost to the Dodgers, someone asked him if he was going to enjoy playing with Brandon Crawford, who was going to be around for another couple of years. And he said, yeah, we'll see. I'll talk to my wife and we'll see where we're going or where we are, something to that effect. It basically was a little door that he kind of opened to the world, kind of letting us know that maybe he wasn't coming back, but I don't think a lot of us really paid too much attention to it. I know that I heard that and just let it go out of my head because I didn't want to believe it. But we'll definitely have a special Buster podcast here in a few days on TortureCast. But until then, I'm going to have his press conference from earlier today in its entirety right after this. It's about an hour long, and it starts with a statement by Buster himself. The middle of it includes Larry Baer, Farhan Zaidi, and others, but you can fast forward that part if you want. Larry can get a little long-winded, but there's some good nuggets in there as well. And then at the end of the press conference, he does have a question and answer period with the media, and so that's included as well. And if you really hang around, I've included a bunch of Buster Posey career highlights in the end, and that was produced by Major League Baseball. So anyway, until then, thanks everyone, and thank you, Buster Posey.
All right, thank you. As you know, I'm here today announcing that I'm retiring. A lot of you out there probably know my first instinct is not to run and get behind a microphone. But as I thought about what I wanted to say today, I realized that it's such a unique opportunity to publicly thank so many people that helped me get here, helped me stay here, and fulfill a lifelong dream, playing Major League Baseball. So first, I'd like to thank the woman sitting up here with me today, Kristen. Most importantly, thank you for being an amazing mom to our kids. Thank you for the love and support from the first game to the last. It doesn't seem like it was that long ago that I remember you sitting at Lee County High School games with your dad, and then Florida State University, and then just a couple of years later, you were in the stands cheering with the rest of the Giants community as we won our first title. Thanks for being there with me to celebrate all the great moments. I think even more importantly, thanks for being there on some of the lower ones. You know better than anybody how hard sometimes I would take not performing the way that I wanted to. But your love and perspective about what was truly important helped me through those times. I know these years out on the West Coast will be some of our fondest as we look back on them, and I'm so excited to continue sharing life with you and watching our kids grow. Lee, Addie, Livia, and Ada, your mom and I are so proud of the people that you're becoming. We're so blessed to have kind, caring, and empathetic children. Being your dad is the greatest joy in my life. To my parents, thanks, number one, for just being great parents. Thanks for setting good examples and being role models. All of us as parents know there's so much that goes into that. So just thank you, number one, for being great parents. Thanks for the time spent at the hundreds of practices for me and my siblings, for teaching me the responsibility for caring for other people. Thanks for teaching me how to compete, how to handle victories, and how to handle the defeats. I'm not strictly talking about sports. Most importantly, thank you for giving me the foundation of knowing that baseball is a vessel that can be used to create wonderful memories and impact people's lives, but ultimately it's not what defines you. We're looking forward to having more time with all of you. To my team at CAA, Jeff and Marissa, for the last 15 years, we've had a relationship that have grown and blossomed because of the trust that we've all built between us. Kristen and I feel very fortunate to have had both of you a part of our team the entire way. Our business relationships have definitely turned into friendships that will last a lifetime. Thank you both for all your hard work and your loyalty. There's a group here that I've worked closely with over my years: Shayna, Bertha, Tess, and Matt. Thank you for all your behind-the-scenes work that doesn't get recognized a lot of times. Chris and I have both enjoyed getting to know all of you and cherish the friendships that have come from that. The Giants ownership, front office, coaches, and training staff. There's so many peoples and teams within the teams that help us players perform to our highest capability. There's no doubt that the success this organization has had the last 10 plus years is a direct correlation to those people that I just mentioned. To the entire medical staff, without you, I might have been done 5 years ago. Gresh and A-Ray, thank you both for your friendship, for truly caring about players, for coming to work a lot of days before anyone else and leaving after everyone else has gone home. Nobody better than you guys. To the old crew, Boach, thanks for being here today. Whoa, thanks for being here. The Sabes, Bobby, thank you for being here. Rags, Billy, Gardy, Bam Bam. I have so many great memories when I think about all of you. Thank you for being leaders for such a long time. I know how fortunate I am to have spent the first 10 years playing underneath you. And like I mentioned with Gresh and A-Ray, thank you for caring about the people that work for you. All these great memories that we have together wouldn't mean anything if we didn't have great relationships. I think it's a big reason why the fans got behind all of our teams the way they did. They could see that the players and coaches that were taking the field cared about one another, and they wanted each other to succeed. Larry, Greg, Rob, thanks for hiring good people. Thanks for bringing great players to this organization. Thanks for always making an effort to humanize the players to the fans. It's probably something early in my career that I thought was a waste of time. And I didn't understand it. But as the years have passed, I realized just how impactful that can be. And if it impacts one person in a positive way, it's worth the time and effort. It's not something you realize when you first become part of a major league organization, but it doesn't take long to realize that some are better than others. This place here has always been a first-class operation. So you guys sitting up here, thank you for your commitment to the team, but also to the community. Farhan, Scott, Cap, our time together was relatively short, but we experienced a lot together. Unfortunately, a global pandemic, but then fortunately followed by a record-setting season of 107 wins. I've really enjoyed getting to know you guys. I know this organization is in great hands with you guys at the helm. So I've been blessed to play in a league that has the most talented baseball players in the world. It's a fraternity that I've watched from afar from the time I was 5 years old until I arrived in September 2009. And one of the greatest benefits that comes along with that is that you get to meet a lot of great teammates that have very similar interests as you do. You make certain friends throughout the years that you know will last beyond the game. I feel very fortunate to make some of those friendships over the years, and I look forward to them lasting for years to come. It'd be impossible for me to thank each and every teammate I played with, but I had the pleasure to not only play along supremely talented baseball players, but good men, good husbands, and good fathers. There are some teammates that I can consider mentors. There's some teammates that we have celebrated Thanksgiving with. There's some teammates that last year during the pandemic, we met over Zoom for a Bible study once a week. They're teammates that I've shared the joys and the hardships of life with. I'm truly grateful for these relationships. I understand the time commitment, preparation, and hard work that goes into being ready to play each and every day. So to all my teammates, thank you for the commitment that you made to our teams over the years. And lastly, to the fans. The last week to 10 days, I've been thinking, how do you thank a fan base? And the Giants fan base is more than just fans. It's a community. And that sense of community is something we as players could feel in the ballpark when we took the field each night. I also hope it's worked the other way. I hope over the years you've been able to see in our teams a sense of pride that we've all taken in coming together each night and each day, working hard with a common goal and pushing each other along the way. And thinking back, oddly, some of the best times when you look back on them are the challenging times. When you're going through them, they don't tend to be very fun. But when you get on the other side of them, you realize that's when you've truly grown. I think that's one of the best things about sports, and hopefully something a lot of fans can identify with as well. Over the years, I've heard a lot of stories about what the Giants mean to different fans, or what baseball means to different fans. When I think back on those stories, there's usually one or two common denominators, and it's family and friends. When I was a child, one of my earliest baseball memories was of Sid Bream, speed guy like me, of the Atlanta Braves sliding into home to beat the Pittsburgh Pirates in Game 7 of the NLCS to send the Braves to the World Series. To be able to share in the joy with my granddad that Christmas as he proudly displayed a picture of Sid Bream on his T-shirt, sliding into home just underneath the tag, is a memory I'll never forget. I'm sure there are kids out there today who've watched me play my entire career. It might actually be adults now. And there's parents and there's grandparents, aunts and uncles, nieces and nephews, cousins. They can still remember exactly where they were when Edgar Renteria hit the game-winning homer in Texas that led the 2010 San Francisco Giants to their first World Series title. Or when Sergio Romo stood on the mound, shook me off from throwing a slider, which still scares me to this day, and snuck a fastball past Miguel Cabrera to clinch the second title in 3 years. Or when Madison Bumgarner came out of the bullpen in Game 7 in Kansas City and 45,000 people went deathly silent because they knew at that point the game and the World Series was over. Or maybe you remember where you were when Matt Cain stood on the back of the mound. He gazed up at the crowd, taking it all in before he recorded the final out of the first ever perfect game in Giants franchise history. To me, this is what encapsulates baseball. It's a lot more than just winning or losing games, although the wins do feel a lot better. But it's about the time spent with family, the countless nights and days pulling for your team, riding the emotions of the highs, riding the emotions of the lows, and ultimately enjoying the people that you're with along the way and making great memories together. I'm so very humbled to have played a part in some of those memories. To the fans, thank you for all your support I've received the last 13 seasons. And I look forward to creating new memories of my own and sharing them with family and friends as I pull for the Giants the rest of my life. Thank you.
Greg?
Thank you, Buster. And now that my tears have finally dried from his call a week ago, I simply want to say thank you, Buster, to all the incredible contributions to the Giants, and say that we fully support your thoughtful and difficult decision. Ann Killian said it best this morning when she referred to Buster as the standard bearer of Giants excellence. He not only excelled on the field, but he was a quiet leader that led by example. He has been the consummate professional, both on and off the field. I also want to thank Kristen for giving so much of Buster to the Giants over the last 14 years or so. Thank you, Kristen. Buster cares deeply about the game, and for me, he's been a tremendous sounding board, as I call him, with questions over the last few years. I've gained valuable insights into the state of the game and how we should make thoughtful and incremental changes to improve the game. This is not the end. This is hopefully a new chapter for Buster and the Giants, and we are working toward a long-term role to keep him part of the Giants family. Buster, thank you for a wonderful run. While we'll miss seeing you behind the plate next year, we understand and we support your decision. You will forever be a Giant to all of us. Not only, as one writer said this morning, are you represented by about every other dog collar in the Bay Area, Buster and Posey, but you will forever be imprinted on the hearts of Giants fans. Thank you, Buster.
Larry?
I'm not sure Buster will remember this, but we have a tradition at the Giants when a draft pick is signed, before he goes out to the minor league assignment, usually in July or August, comes down and sits down by the dugout with us for a game. And in 2008, it was Buster's turn. We had, of course, a very exciting signing. It was the 5th overall pick, and it was exciting being in the draft room with Bobby Evans and Brian Sabian and John Barr, who developed a relationship with Buster and Buster's family, our lead scout who scouted Buster. So anyway, in first time I had a chance to spend any time with Buster and Kristen, and a little fairy tale ran through my mind on that night in 2008, in August 2008. The fairy tale was, we're going to have a long, productive player that will be a Giant, and for a long time, maybe even a career, and help make memories for the fans. We'd have a player that would be adored by the fans, a player that would be involved in the community in meaningful ways, a high integrity player, a great teammate. And also part of this fairy tale was maybe a player that would help us lead us to our first championship in San Francisco. Having, in 2008, we had gone 50 years at that point without a championship. But even more powerful than that fairy tale was the fact that as we went through the next 12 years together, 13 years, bookended by a championship in his first year and division championship this year, as well as franchise record performance this year with 107 wins, that gold-plated bookends, by the way, got to know Buster the person, and Kristen the person, and the family, the Posey family. And just to share a few reflections on the people that we're honoring today. On the field Buster, not performance-wise, but all the other things he brings as a person. I'll never forget in 2010, and Boch can speak volumes about this. As a rookie, the way he handled our pitching staff. The disparate personalities of Sergio Romo, Brian Wilson, Tim Lincecum, Madison Bumgarner, Matt Cain, on and on. Unbelievable. I learned a lot about psychology just watching that unfold. I'll never forget the City Hall celebration in 2010 when Buster exhorted his teammates and said, we're going to go home for a couple weeks and then prepare and let's do this again. Remember that? I'll never forget one of the darkest days in my career in 2011, seeing Buster in the clubhouse the night of his injury, and then tracking over time his unbelievable commitment and the amazing work of our training staff, doctors, but climbing that mountain back the next year to MVP, batting champ, and of course, another championship. And then I'll never forget this season and what Buster's done with his leadership in bringing a new group together, new coaches and new staff together to make memories. And then off the field, never saying no to an autograph seeker, never, always looking them in the eye and signing the autograph and saying hello, showing respect. Treating every member of our front office staff with respect and dignity, community relations, media relations, the clubhouse personnel, everyone, telling them how important they are to him. And then early on with Kristen, hearing their interest in getting involved in the community and establishing a foundation. But what was really impressive about it was that they wanted to do their homework, do their research, get involved in understanding. I remember one meeting we had with a Bay Area philanthropist at his home it was a day of a night game, and Buster and Kristen were there and talking about what they wanted to do and asking questions and really learning. And from that came the foundation, affiliation with UCSF, and amazing work for pediatric cancer. And then just two other things. Buster's character. Humble, ultimate humility, always deflecting, giving others credit. I'll never forget the trophy tour with Willie Mays back in New York, when we went back to New York after one of the championships, and how Buster, it was wanted to be an ode to Willie, and also with Yogi Berra, and going to Yogi Berra's museum, and Buster paying homage to one of the great catchers that he said he learned so much from. And then finally, when also receiving a phone call and hearing Buster, his feelings, his reasons, his family priorities, his life priorities, what jumped out at me was just one word, and that is respect. Respect for the decision, respect for the person and the family we have come to know and love, and just the gratitude for the journey he's taken us on since this fairy tale began in 2008.
Farhan?
Thanks, Matt. Good afternoon, everyone. Before I got into my remarks, I don't know if this is the right time for it, but I kind of just wanted to ask, is this like a definite, like for sure thing? Or I just had to ask. I have to admit that I flew into town this morning, and landed at SFO, and I kind of wandered around the gate area for a little longer than was appropriate, I think, because kind of getting in a car and heading over here, I think, like for a lot of us in the organization and fans around tuning in, made it real. And, the reality of kind of a future without you and your family and how much you've meant to us, at least on the field, has been something, for us to all digest. And, even with that mixed feeling is, I know, a sense of overwhelming gratitude for everything you've meant to this organization, to all the people in it, all you've accomplished for the organization and the city. I want to acknowledge a few people that Buster mentioned. I'm up here representing our organization, our baseball group, but wanted to recognize Bobby Evans, obviously Boch, as well as Brian Sabian and John Barr, who I know wanted to be here but weren't able to. They could easily be up here representing the organization as well. I know how important they were to you all, and I think on behalf of the organization, just have a lot of gratitude for everything they did to help bring you along, to make you a Giant, and I know they're very, very proud of that. I've been thinking, as we all have been, about our association with Buster, and it's something that I think all of us have a great appreciation for. And I think back to, when I first started with the Giants in late 2018, and there were some raised eyebrows when I was brought over. There was, talk about, me maybe being a Dodger mole, or, maybe being, a numbers guy that maybe wasn't in tune with the Giants' ethos. And in all honesty, I was a little rattled by that. It was a real adjustment for me personally and professionally. But one of the first people that reached out to me after I got this job was Buster, and he made a point of reaching out and not just shooting a congratulatory text, but said he wanted to meet and talk. And he met me down the clubhouse a few days after I started as a Giant, and spent 2 or 3 hours with me in the coach's room, just talking baseball. And he's probably sizing me up too in those moments. But I have to say, there's nothing anybody else could have done that made me feel more comfortable and more like a Giant than you taking that time, in my first few days. I mean, those were the moments when I truly felt like I became a Giant. And I share that story because I think all of us have these stories about Buster. Just the incredible empathy he has, the ability he has to elevate people and put them in the best position to do their jobs. And that's not just teammates or the pitchers that he caught, but it's all of us. It's our coaches and managers and people in the front office. And, for all your individual accolades, I think that's what people will remember and appreciate the most out of these 12 years is what you meant to them personally. That was a great talk, and I think, as a lot of people would attest to, I think, Boch and Cap, as two of your managers, would say they didn't just view you as a player, but as a thought partner. And, I think that's a really high compliment. And I think Boch and, Sabes and Bobby would probably say the same thing. They view you that way too. I probably got a little too comfortable with it too fast, because I remember a couple months after that first conversation, this was Boch's last year, and Vegas was starting to have some fun with it in terms of who the successors might be. They started posting some odds, and I remember one book came out with odds that had Buster as a 10,000 to 1 odds to become player manager. I saw that. I kind of circled it. I shot a text over to Buster, and I said, "I just figured out how we're going to pay for Bryce Harper." And in typical Buster fashion, he was like, you know, that's funny, but I'm actually a better candidate than some of the people with better odds than me. You know, I also, over the last 10 days, have had time to reflect on the 2020 season. You know, you're opting out. It's wonderful to see your two beautiful girls, twins, here. And, you know, obviously the organization was fully supportive of that decision. And as a baseball group, I think we just picked up the pieces and figured we would do the best we could. And, you know, we had some nice moments in that 2020 season. But I look back on it now, and I realize we were lost. You know, we were lost, and I don't think I fully appreciate it, and maybe all of us fully appreciate it until we had you back this year. And the difference you made to this team this year and everything we were able to accomplish, you know, it was because of you. I think all of us feel that way. And, you know, it's difficult to think about moving forward from a baseball standpoint without you, but, you know, I think for all of us, we choose to focus on just the incredible gratitude that you came back this year and did what you did and gave us such a memorable season. I mean, it's one that I and many Giants fans will never forget. So want to thank you for that, and obviously thank you for everything else that you've given this organization over the last 12 years, and just wish you and your family the very best. Thanks.
Okay, at this time we can have Larry, Greg, and Farhan take their seat. Okay, we can open it up to questions for Buster. Just a reminder, if you have a question, please raise your hand, and we will get you a wireless microphone. Let's start here in the back with John Shea.
Hello, Buster.
Hey, John.
Why exactly are you retiring, and when did you come to this decision?
Well, I kind of went into this last season feeling like it might be my last, but just gave myself some space in my mind to be okay with deciding otherwise if I wanted to keep playing. And I just really never wavered. I think it really allowed me to, not that you don't give it your all, but really, really empty the tank this year like I never have before. And the reason I'm retiring is I want to be able to do more stuff from February to November with my family. Physically, it's much harder now. And to be honest, it's hard to enjoy it as much when there's the physical pain that you're dealing with on a daily basis. Again, you know, I halfway joke with our training staff about being done 5 years ago, but I don't know how far of a stretch that's really off without the work they were doing daily, you know, with the history of an ankle injury and then a hip. Yeah, it was just getting to the point where things that I was enjoying were not as joyful anymore. And no doubt the camaraderie with the teammates in the clubhouse and you know, the thrill of winning a great game I'll miss. But yeah, I just think weighing all those things, it was ultimately why I didn't really feel like I wavered at all during the year.
In the back to the left, Janie.
Hi, Buster.
Hey.
Have you thought about, you know, this organization does so much for its players who have stepped away from baseball, and everybody wants to know if you'll stay involved somehow, and maybe once your kids are a little older, will you do some ambassador work that I know is very important to you off the field with the community fund and things along those lines, or maybe do TV?
Ha. Yeah, I love to talk. Yeah, I've thought about it. I think I've thought about it for years now. I think in my mind, I'll always be part of the Giants organization. I couldn't tell you in what capacity that is right now, but Kristen and I and our kids are just so grateful that this was the organization that drafted us. Because you don't have any control of that, obviously, coming out of high school or college. So just very grateful to have spent, the last 14 seasons here with the Giants.
Let's go right here in the back.
Buster, I was talking with a number of fans yesterday, and there was a young man in his 20s who said, my dad had Joe Montana, and I had Buster Posey. And another family said, he's like our family, and another fan said, there was something about him being the heart and soul of this squad for the last 12 years. And it's a two-part question. What do you say to those fans? But also, all of them, when I asked about their favorite play and their favorite moment with you as a player, they brought up that grand slam in 2012 against Cincinnati and how much it meant to them, and many of them had tears in their eyes after that. Do you have a special moment, and what do you say to those folks who feel like you're almost part of their family?
Well, it's like I said in my statements. I mean, I think that's what's so special about the relationship that fans make with players, especially in baseball, because we're on their TV so many nights out of the year. And Kristen and I actually talk about that a lot, how sometimes fans will come up to you and they, from our standpoint, they're talking to you like they know you. And it's because we're on TV so much and playing games. And as I mentioned to Larry about the Giants' effort to humanize players, I think all of those things just make it special. And I'm humbled. I'm humbled to have been able to help create great memories for a fan base. And it goes both ways, because I got to play in this ballpark in front of 42,000 plus most nights, and I fulfilled a childhood dream.
Let's go to the right in the middle. Ann?
Hey, Buster. How much did taking last year off factor into this decision and the time you've got to spend with your family, and maybe be in a little less pain and make you realize it would be a good time to just do one more year? And also, you mentioned our years on the West Coast, you and Kristen. Are you going to be staying in the area? Are you going to be moving to back to the South?
Yeah, I think the year off probably did play into the decision a little bit. But at the same time, as I mentioned, I didn't approach the season and say this is definitely it. And then, sorry, what was the next part of the question? Staying here. Well, we'll probably move. We'll probably move back to Georgia eventually. That's just where both of our families are. We've been on one coast. They've been on another coast for really since 2008 when I was drafted. So we're definitely excited about. Because of COVID, there's a niece that we still haven't met yet. A lot of my family hasn't met our twin girls, and it's like a lot of families, I'm sure, that are separated. COVID's made it harder for people to see each other. So we're very, very excited about being closer and being able to spend time with them.
Brian?
Congratulations, Buster and Kristen. There was a theory that you were taking it more in after game 162. Maybe were we overreading your long looks into the crowd and everything? And was there more drinking in of the final week and celebration in game 162 in the environment?
Yeah, I think when it was over, I tried to take it in a little bit more. But because of the nature of the way the season ended, with it being just, down to the wire, I think Greg told me the other day that his wife at one point was like, this needs to be over because it's stressing you out too much. Once it was over and we had won the division, I was definitely taken in. I went back to the conversations that we had with Cap and Farhan at the beginning of the year and just said how we all collectively were like, all right, if we're going to go do this, it's not fair to anybody in the room if we don't set out to win the division. Like, trying to sneak into the wild card is just not going to work. And I think when Cap probably said that early on in spring training, there were some players that were probably rolling their eyes, like a lot of people probably would that had heard that. But I think without that initial belief that it was what our goal was, I don't think it happens. And so yeah, once it was over, I was definitely just appreciating looking at the fans that were packed into the stadium when last year there were no fans, and just kind of reminiscing on past years when getting to celebrate, whether either making the playoffs or winning a big playoff series in that ballpark.
Let's go to Mark.
Buster, I know you've stated you weren't 100% sure that this was going to be the last year, but it maybe seemed that way. Coming off of the opt-out, why was it important to maybe come back for at least one more year? Were there some specific things you felt like were kind of still on the table?
Yeah, I think number one, and I told Jeff, my agent, at the beginning of the year, I said, I want to individually prove to myself that I can still play this game at the highest level. Because, not playing last year, not having a good year in 19, doubts creep in for sure. And was able to get some good work in the offseason and surrounded by just an incredible team. Farhan alluded to it a little bit, but it's very cliche to say a special group of guys because it's overused. But I can honestly say that clubhouse probably meshed and got along as well as I've ever seen. I don't think you accomplished what we did with, the Dodgers breathing down our neck, seemingly like since the trade deadline. And it was, looking back on it now, I can say it was fun. I don't know if it was necessarily fun in the middle of it the whole time, but that's the great thing about, being able to push yourself and have other people and teammates around you that are pushing the same way. Because when it's all said and done, win or lose, if you put it all out there, it's a satisfying feeling.
To the left, Andy.
Hi, Buster. Congratulations on your career. I think I remember in 2019, maybe at Spring Training 20, actually, I asked you what you wanted to accomplish in the season, and you said, I want to feel like I can make an impact on the field again. And you certainly were able to do that. You're going to be comeback player of the year. I think it's the second time you've won it. But what did that mean to you personally at a time when pitching is probably the best it's ever been for you to compete at the level you competed at? And did your success sway you even the least bit to want to keep going?
Yeah, I know it's been talked about quite a bit publicly this year, but honestly, the three hitting coaches that we had last year, Donnie Ecker, Justin Veely, hopefully I said that right, Justin, and Dustin Lynn. Farhan talks about, when he was talking about, everybody's kind of like, all right, what's this guy about? I think there was definitely a period for us as players when those guys came in. Like, Donnie's a year older than me, and the other two guys are younger than I am. So those guys being able to establish trust with the veteran players as quickly as they did was pretty incredible. And I think Cap should get a lot of credit for putting the staff together like he did, because there'd be certain moments in the year where I would kind of pick at coaches and try to get them to say something about Cap. None of them would do it. They wouldn't bite. They just would not bite whatsoever. So the loyalty they all had for one another made a huge difference for all of us. And getting back to the hitting, I just think those guys would do the advanced work, the analytics and all, but they had such a great way of relaying the information to the players to where it's not a burden. You actually start to crave it and want it, because it's not so much that you're like, man, I can't take any more of this. So I think coupled with my hip feeling as good as it had felt in a few years, working with those guys, getting some early confidence going, I think that helped me a lot. And I can honestly say no, playing the way I did didn't sway me. And I think that's part of the reason that I do feel at peace with my decision, because obviously it would be much harder than if I had felt otherwise.
Let's go to Kerry Crowley.
Buster, congratulations. Coming out of Florida State and joining the Giants organization with the lofty expectations that were upon you, what were your kind of wildest dreams for your tenure in Major League Baseball? And when you think back to where you were then and where you are now, how do you reflect on all you accomplished?
Yeah, I mean, Kristen probably remembers this. I can remember in high school being heartbroken about losing a state championship. Our high school had never won a state championship. And then moving on to Florida State, we had Mike Martin there, kind of getting towards the end of his career, never won a College World Series, and wasn't able to accomplish that. And it was truly just what I wanted was to win. I wanted to win a championship. And I can remember running to the mound in 2010, and honestly, the thoughts going through my head were what just happened. I mean, it was an understatement to say a dream come true. Boach getting to win his first. Mike Murphy here in the audience today getting to win his first. So many other people. Again, I just go back to the relationships and the memories that are made along the way. But when you go back in your mind and you think about why is that special to you, it's because of the people you got to share it with. And if it was people I didn't enjoy being around or didn't have respect for, it wouldn't mean as much to me.
Let's go to Chris Haft.
Hi, Buster. I think I speak for my counterparts when I say that it was a privilege and a pleasure to have covered all or part or some of your career.
Thanks,
we thank you, I'm sure. I remember a talk we had in 2012, early in that year or that season, and you made a comment or remark about we're all going to be done someday. And I'm thinking to myself, what a unique thing for a third-year player in a third year in the majors to say that sort of thing. Now, you earlier in your talk, in your remarks, you mentioned perspective. Was that kind of did you consciously try to maintain that perspective? You know, just have one hand on that wheel, so to speak, even while you were thriving as a player.
Yeah, I did. I tried to. I wasn't always good at it. Don't laugh. But I do. I remember driving in the ballpark one day early in my career. I'm not sure when, and was feeling the pressure. I probably wasn't hitting the way I wanted to hit, and was trying to rationalize everything in my brain as I had my quiet time driving in. And I grew up, like a lot of people my age, big Braves fans. And I started to think about those guys. And I had the realization that whether you play till you're 27, you're 30, you're 35, or you're 40, the game continues to move on. And not to be callous, but people have other things in their lives that are more important. This is obviously a great thing that we all get to share and experience together. But those guys that I looked up to so much, were they still around? Some, sure. But I think the main thing I took away from my internal conversation that I was having with myself is you're not more important than you think you are. You're not as important as you think you are. And it helped take pressure off of me by doing that.
Let's go all the way in the back, Robert Flores.
Hey, Buster, I have two questions. What do you think you're going to miss most? And the second question, now that you no longer have a season to prepare for, Are PTA meetings in your immediate future? What are you looking forward to doing now?
Yeah. Well, I mean, specifically, what am I going to miss? I'll miss the people. Number one, I'll miss what I talked about not having the chance to share in that common objective and goal that's started all the way back in February and carries until the end of October. Yeah, the friendships. There'll be people that I don't get to see as much that I've seen for a long time. The competition. There'll be a lot of things. There'll be a lot of things I won't too, to be honest. And I think in these coming months, once spring training rolls around and the season starts, it'll definitely be different. But if you can see the babies crawling on the windowsill over here, I'm pretty sure we'll stay busy.
Let's go back to Ann Killian.
Buster, I don't know if you're aware of how rare this is, how for someone of your stature to be able to kind of go out on their own terms. You're not injured. You're in your original uniform. You're not bitter or angry. Is that something that was a goal when, you've always had perspective. You've thought about, as you just said, that this was going to come to an end. Did you envision how you wanted to do it and to make sure you kind of did it on your own terms?
Yeah, I think so. Again, I talked to Jeff and kind of had shared my thoughts with him, what I was thinking early in the year, and feel very lucky that we had the season that we had this year, personally and team-wise. Sorry, what was the second part of the question there?
That you were able to do it on your own terms.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think that's important to me. I don't think it was like the overriding factor, but I think that was a factor. All of us who've been around the game for a long time, unfortunately, you do see players that get towards the end of their career, and the game does get hard. You do tend to get bitter sometimes, and it doesn't happen to everybody. But again, just grateful that I had a year of getting to work with a lot of new players that I'd never played with before, getting to watch Logan Webb transform into an ace, and I think with him, it's not even the stuff's off the charts, but just seeing his leadership blossom as the year went along was really, really cool for me. And yeah, it was a great year.
Okay, we're going to take three more. Let's go to John Shea.
Buster, what do you want your legacy to be on and off the field? On the field, there's already a debate. Is Posey a Hall of Famer? And you could have stayed around longer to chase Hall of Fame numbers, and this debate will go on for the next 5 years until you're on the ballot. But was that ever a consideration, the Hall of Fame, ever in your mind?
Oh, of course it's in your mind. Obviously, as you mentioned, I probably could have played longer if I wanted to. So my legacy, I want to be that faith is number one for me, then my family, and then the way I treat people, other people, and everything else I think falls into place after that. It's really a simplistic way of looking at it, and I think it works. On the field, the fact that, as we talked earlier, that I got to win 3 world championships. I got to be a part of the first one ever and 2 more. So I couldn't ask for much more than that.
Okay, Brian Murphy.
2 for you, Buster. One's sort of not that pleasant, and the other one hopefully is more pleasant. One is, I know you don't want to go through it in excruciating detail, but can you tell us about the pain? Can you tell us, does it go all the way back to Scott Cousins in that incident, how hard it has been for you?
Well, like anybody else, right? Like as time goes along, you have aches and pains, whether it's playing baseball or not. I'd venture to say most 34-year-olds at some point are probably having some back pain getting out of bed. you can't say specifically what or why. I mean, the toll of playing Major League Baseball and catching in the major leagues for as long as I did is going to take a toll on your body. And it was different from day to day. Some days would be great and some wouldn't. And it's definitely not something that I want to harp on because I tried throughout my career not to talk about it ever. I didn't ever want there to be any excuse out there for poor play or performance based on an injury or whatnot. So I don't really want to do it now either. And then second part.
Yeah, the more pleasant one. Those of us who are trying to draw great meanings into your career, you and Bumgarner had a little moment, tapped each other. Did he know? And you knew? And that was your last little moment together?
I don't think he knew for certain. We'd kind of talked a little bit last winter, but he didn't know for certain, no.
Okay. Last one to Janie.
Buster, Brian sort of beat me to my thought, but did you amaze yourself with, I mean, you did catch 10 of the last 13 during that stretch where you guys needed to win every single game, and was that adrenaline? Was it just sheer will to physically to do that over those final weeks where every game mattered?
Yeah, again, I don't want to sit here and say that was some amazing accomplishment. I mean, I feel good that I was able to do that. But more than anything, when you mentioned that, I just think about how happy I am that we were able to win all those games down the stretch. And really was what a historic divisional race that I feel pretty confident in saying you're not going to see one like that for a long time.
Okay, that will conclude today's press conference. Appreciate everyone coming out today.
The question is, what do they do with this lineup? And there is the first big league hit by Buster Posey. A little flare to right. That's a big moment for this young man.
Flied into center for Hamilton. Back, carrying at the wall. It's a home run. Up onto the grass in center field. The ball shooting out to center, and it's 4-0 Giants in the 8th. First postseason home run for Buster Posey.
And again, Ron Washington saying, don't be fooled by the flags in this ballpark. The flags blowing in from right field. That was a breaking ball, a high breaking ball that kept carrying and carrying and carrying.
There is nobody more shocked than Hamilton, who took a couple of steps, was drifting, and then started to sprint. And it was easily out of here into center field for the first postseason home run for Posey.
And there's a drive to deep left field, and that's trouble. It's deep. It is gone. Oh, my. Triple-double home run. And the Giants jump out 3-0. First home run of the season for Buster Posey. Roughing up Tim Stauffer at the opening bell.
Well, let's see what the pitch is. The fastball count, but it was an off-speed pitch, slider or a little cutter. And look, just judging by that swing, his body was out of it, but he got behind that ball. He kept his hands back.
Ground ball by Hop. Posey goes the other way again. Here comes the throw to the plate, not in time, and the Giants get 2 more. Great hitting again by the young catcher. He's got a 4 RBI day. How about the combination of Huff and Posey? They've knocked in 7 today. All 7.
Again, ball up in the zone, doesn't try to pull it, goes the other way. Brad Hop can't get to it. Posey drives in 2, going the other way.
This could be trouble. Jay is back at the wall, looks up, and it's gone.
3-run homer. Buster Posey, his 18th of the season. And the Giants, just like last night, via the home run, take an early lead.
And he had to give this one a ride. Over the Bank of America sign.
And this is driven down the left field line. It is out of here. And just like that, this game is tied. Home run number 15.
Just makes it look easy. Just kind of throws the bat head. It looked like he gets both cheeks into it, but if you got TNT in your wrists, you can do things like that. And Elvis digs it.
Deep right center field. Gomez racing after it. No, not this time. Pagan scores. Panic around third. He will score. And Posey heading for third. A 2-run triple for Buster Posey. His 4th hit of the night. And the Giants have a 10-2 lead.
For Buster Posey, that is his 5th 4-hit game this season.
And that's his 5th hit, matching his career record. And Panic will go around to third.
You know, and he gets it going like this, and it's just that little instant where he sees the ball a little bit longer.
Chance to do big damage here. And Posey launches one deep left field. It is gone. What a big moment and a big swing for Posey and the Giants. 4-1 on the grand slam by Buster.
And there wasn't one person in this ballpark that wasn't thinking that that's what was going to happen.
He was overdue.
And the 2-2 pitch to Posey is a curveball hit deep into left field. Back goes Ethier. It's a grand slam home run. Buster's 3rd, and the Giants lead 4-1. So Posey's 3rd grand slam in his career. That picks up a big 4. And the Giants now have a commanding 4-1 lead. Big, slow, hanging curveball. And Posey knew exactly what to do with it. For Mike Bolsinger, that would be the 3rd home run that he's allowed, but it was a whopper. A slam by Buster.
1 ball and no strikes. Panic at second. Duffy at first. And Buster, it's a high drive to right. Blackman back. It is out of here. And the Giants drop a 3 spot here in the 1st inning. Buster Posey home run number 6.
And now he's 1 for 10 against Eddie Butler.
And that has to feel pretty good.
And he does it in Buster Posey fashion, too. He takes a sinker down and in, and he inside outs it. They set the target away. This goes middle in. And he backspins it right out the hot side of this yard, right center. And you pretty much knew this one was gone as soon as it left the bat.
High drive to right. Blackman back. It is out of here. He's done it again. And the Giants retake the lead. Unbelievable. His second 3-run home run of the ball game.
And it was almost identical to the first one. And that's a 6 RBI day for Posey. And here comes Walt Weiss. He's seen enough with Estevez. A 2-0 count.
looking for a mistake out over the plate and up, and he backspins it right over the wall.
Estevez says, who's going to catch this one?
Well, it could be Billy Hayes. Could be Mark Gardner. Could be Eli Whiteside.
Garza and Harvey, huh?
Yep. In the air to left field. Back goes Granderson near the wall, and Posey's done it again. Buster Posey has homered in every game in this series. He came into the series with only 2 home runs for the season. He's hit 3 here at Citi Field. And Posey ties up the game. It's 1-1.
You know, he had a little bit of a down year last year, but we tend to forget just how good of a hitter Posey is.
Well, for the Mets, if you're going to give up the home run, you want to give up the solo shot. All 3 home runs, solo home runs for Posey.
Fastball, got it up. And Posey didn't get all of it, kind of got in on him just enough.
High drive, left field, it is out of here. Yes, we're going home.
Everybody was thinking about it. And Buster Posey delivers on the expectation. And that is a win this team needed.
High drive. Down the line. Left field. Out of here. Buster Posey, number 7, and the Giants take the lead.
That snaps his longest career homerless streak. He had one since June at Oracle Park.
Buster hits a high drive to left. It is out of here. Wow. Maybe he's not happy hitting 7.
Well, he just got an RBI, knocked himself in.
And it's 2-0.
Well, they tried to go in a third time. They missed twice with fastballs on the inside corner. They tried to go back in there again, and you see the target. It's just a little bit of a lazy breaking ball on the inside corner. And look at Posey stay inside. I mean, that is what his signature swing has always been. And here, he just puts himself on the map for 2021.
It looked like he hit it right into a sports bar.
A big thank you to everybody for listening to the Torture Cast, the podcast by and for fans of the San Francisco Giants. Follow us on Twitter at TortureCast. You can also like us on Facebook or check out our blog at torturecast.com. I also want to say thank you to Ashcon and Bailey for letting us use their song Feeling Like a Giant for our intro. For Ben Lee and Chad King, my name is Willie Dills saying we'll see you next time.